I've tried to come home to myself and the lights are off and it's just empty. Like, it's just a cold, empty house with no character.
Hello, I'm Jen. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be covering week 9 of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. This week was all about recovering a sense of compassion. Now, I didn't stick to the schedule. It took me about 3-4, I don't even know how long, 3-4 weeks to get this week done and truly feel finished with it, and also get the time to get my camera out. It's been a crazy transition moving back to Prague for my final semester of university and going through a lot in my personal relationships, in my work life, in my school. Not an excuse, just the situation, just what is at hand. The week of compassion also was a massive challenge for me. I identified through force how my compassion is received by people and how my love is very sensitive. It's just very easy to make me feel small, and that's because I don't have any real compassion for myself. My love tank, my vitality has been filled with other people's validation that I'm necessary, that I'm helpful, that I'm useful, and that they're grateful to have me in their lives. So this week, looking to see what compassion looked like and not seeing anything, that was really scary and isolating. It's funny because since I didn't move on to week 10 in the proper timing, I feel like I've been stuck on the week of compassion and repeating lessons over and over again. It's all meant to be. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. However, I wonder if this would have gone differently if I had moved on to week 10 on time. Interesting. Anyway, Julia Cameron pulled through with many beautiful quotes, as she always does, and so I'll be reading my favorites and talking about them, so let's get into it. The first section that Julia talks about in this chapter is fear. And the goal of this section is to drill it into our minds that you are cruel for saying you are lazy. You're not lazy, you're just scared. I'll read a quote from her. We have wanted to create, and we have been unable to create, and we have called that inability laziness. This is not merely inaccurate, it's cruel. Accuracy and compassion serve us far better. Blocked artists are not lazy, they are blocked. Being blocked and being lazy are two different things. I think every artist who is currently working on something or who wants to work on something deals with different kinds of fears. My fears are usually around money or just my lack of capability. Julia says, use love for your artist to cure its fear. Her explaining procrastination as fear has allowed me to visualize my younger self inside of me being scared to start the project. And thus it's easier for me to take care and to coddle and to nurture that aspect of me. I put a little baby picture of myself on my altar where I do my spiritual practice, and it has been such a nice addition to see every morning, to talk to myself, to give myself some love. And I've already been creating more, unconsciously, just creating more, writing more creatively. And I've been writing so many song lyrics. The next section of this chapter is called Enthusiasm. She opens it by explaining how, as an artist, you get told, oh wow, my gosh, it must take so much discipline, you're such a hard worker. But really, it doesn't take discipline and hard work, it takes enthusiasm and passion for your craft. That's the most important thing. Julia says, enthusiasm is not an emotional state, it is a spiritual commitment, a loving surrender to our creative process, a loving recognition of all the creativity around us. In order to keep up our enthusiasm for our craft, Julia gives a couple little fun pointers. She says to not be so crazy about having a clean workspace. Have a playpen, have a sandbox, have something that livens up your space. And when I look at my room, I see it as such a playful space, and I'm glad that part of it's already kind of established for me. She says, "At the heart of this play is the mystery of joy." The next subject she talks about in this chapter is creative U-turns. Those of us addicted to sympathy in the place of creativity can become increasingly threatened as we become increasingly functional. Many recovering artists become so threatened that they make U-turns and sabotage themselves. In terms of my creative U-turns, I feel like there's so many ideas for videos that I want to make, and I've even recorded intros to some of them, but I back down because I see what other people are creating, and basically exactly what Julia is talking about. We just talk ourselves into not feeling good enough, and what's the point of putting this out there when maybe it's already done or it's already been done better? But yeah. I can think of a handful of creative U-turns that I've made, and she talks basically about allowing yourself to have compassion for those creative U-turns, and don't waste too much time mourning the time you feel was wasted or the opportunity that you wasted. You just have to kind of keep moving through those U-turns and see what new direction you've driven yourself into. She also mentions that a great way to recover from a creative U-turn is asking for help. Once we admit the need for help, the help arrives. The ego always wants to claim self-sufficiency. It would rather pose as a creative loner than ask for help. Ask anyway. People pride themselves on doing things on their own and being an individual and, paving the way for yourself and doing everything on your own. But nothing really works that way. The last section of this chapter is called Blasting Through Blocks. Julia gives us a little activity that we can do every time we start a new creative project. Actually, I'm starting one tonight. It's the full moon, so it's a great time to start something new. And I'm going to do this activity. First, you list any resentments you have towards the creative project, then you list any fears you have about the creative project, and then you ask yourself, is that all you feel? Is that all the negative things you feel about this creative project? And then you ask yourself what you stand to gain by not doing the piece of work, which is such a cool question. And then you make your deal with the creative force or with whoever you feel could potentially help you in the spiritual world. And you lock it in and you sign it. And she says that that is a very powerful exercise and it can do fatal damage to a creative block. In terms of my artist dates and my morning pages, I've been very good about taking myself out and giving myself that precious time in solitude. Today I had a beautiful day and I biked at the park and it was really lovely. And then in terms of morning pages, I just journal throughout the day. I do journal every morning when I wake up, but then I pick up my journal again throughout the day and just do timestamps and give updates and just record everything, honestly, because it's such good material for my future music, movie, book, I don't know what, but I love journaling because I feel like a historian and it makes me feel like my life is romanticized. That is all I have to contribute to this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm glad self-protection is following this week because I do feel a little bit raw and vulnerable and so sensitive. I feel so sensitive right now. And so I'm excited to maybe build some healthy walls, healthy boundaries in this next week. So thank you for watching again, and I'll see you soon.